Most of the time, the approach of people through a legal system is through legal movies, or the so-called tribunal movies, which often pictures the American system, and where you always see someone who's sometimes really poor and having a sort of juste cause and is arriving in front of a tribunal with his lawyer and against a very big company and makes a lot of money out of it. Or people often hear about things happening in the United States where, for ridiculous cases, some people can get a very, very large amount of damages. Millions and millions. Well, the French system is very different from it, and sometimes people in the street in France are misled by this representation which comes from the United States. The French system, first of all, does not allow these big damages. Of course, you can sue a company or someone who has damaged your garden or whatever, but the damages you will get from it will be equivalent to the loss you've suffered. This includes psychological loss, but this won't go up to millions and millions, unless you have suffered millions and millions, but this happens quite rarely. As a result, we don't have the so-called punitive damages. Also, if a judgment, an American judgment allowing punitive damages is tried to be enforced in France, it won't be enforced in France because it is against our French legal order. The reason is that we distinguish between sort of civil punishment and criminal punishment. And the punitive damages as a sort of criminal character that we cannot accept for civil damages, for civil punishment. The other thing is that in the United States, it is basically possible for someone really poor to have access to justice because they would get a lot of damages, and the lawyers will say that they will only get paid if their client wins. And now in France, this is different. We don't have this. The lawyers have to be paid. So as a result, it is either paid by the client, or when the client is not rich enough, it is paid by the state in form of legal aid. The perverse effect of this is that although legal aid is provided for very indigent persons, it is also difficult because most of the time lawyers are appointed by the court on a compulsory way in cases where they have nothing to gain from, apart from a little money, which is basically really less than what they would make in normal cases. And they cannot also win a percentage of what their client is going to make. So basically, lawyers are really disinterested in the cases of legal aid clients. As a result, you will have some people who find themselves into difficult situations, go to legal aid and are not particularly helped and are left into difficult situations. The most critical example I heard of was when a friend of mine who was a student was fighting against her parents and she had absolutely no means of living. And her legal aid lawyer arrived too late at the tribunal. As a result, the tribunal decided to postpone the case of 2 months. Now, this was a big catastrophe for my friend because she had no money, she had nothing to eat, and she was desperate. And the answer of her lawyer for this was, well, don't worry, you'll eat pastas for the next 2 months. This is the sort of attitudes which I find very shocking into legal aid lawyers, and which unfortunately tends to happen in the French system.